A student named Kiba Yudo was already tired of his life because of bullying. All he wanted was to be happy, laugh with friends, and fall in love. He went to the rooftop's edge and was about to end everything. But a girl suddenly appeared. He was surprised that there were still students left, and when the girl looked at the side fence, he wondered if she would call someone. The girl caught a dead crow and creepily told him to look at it. She asks if he plans to end his life because if he does, she wants him to give his life to her instead. She elaborated that dying is such a waste because there is so much fun stuff he could do while he was still alive. Yudo asked if she was trying to make fun of him, but the girl denied it and creepily told him she wanted to put his life to good use. She makes an example while menacingly looking at the crow, asking if the crow doesn't look cute. Yudo was disgusted at the sight and gave a negative answer. The girl agreed with him because the crow was already dead, making it look like nothing but a smelly, rotting lump of trash. Hearing the trash word made the whole world fall at Yudo and ask himself why he was always surrounded by idiots. He mumbled that the crow was in a better place than him because the crow just became trash after dying. However, he is different because even though he is still alive, he is already trash. The girl asked if that was the reason he wanted to end his life, and he confirmed it. He questioned her deal with lecturing him, and the girl responded that she didn't want to stop him. She didn't know about him, but she could tell that he had a miserable life and asked if he was fine being an ugly trash for the rest of his life. Yudo denied it by revealing that he wanted to have friends and live a normal life. Even though a girlfriend is out of the picture, he wants to make the best out of his teenage life. With a psychotic ugly face, the girl stated she would grant him that life, and after jumping at the fence and landing on the edge of the floor, she told him to become her puppet, assuring him that she would make him happy. She wouldn't mind letting him feel her mountains and cave if he became her puppet. She said this while showing her floppy melons. Seeing the two mountains of Fuji made Yudo close his eyes, and as he did so, the girl asked if it wasn't a good deal. She grabbed him by the necktie, and as they were about to fall, she told him that if they survived this, he would become her puppet. Yudo couldn't believe that he was really going to die and recalled the bullying he suffered. A guy who was recording Yudo ordered him to clean his puke. He put his feet on his head and forcefully made him kiss the floor. As he wondered why this happening to him, the bully called him trash and commanded him to say cheese. Yudo clenched his teeth and wished that they all rot in hell. Back at present, after falling on the ground, Yudo groans in pain after he feels his left arm has broken. On the other hand, the girl chuckled and muttered that it wasn't enough to kill them. She stood up and carried Yudo like a puppet. She made him dance with her and declared he was now her puppet. She will pull his string, and he will dance for her. Yudo asked why she was doing this, and she answered that she was tired of her life. She wants to control someone else and create the perfect life for them. She held his hand and promised to lead his life to happiness. Yudo stated that if it was possible, he wouldn't care about being a puppet because all he wanted was to be happy. The girl confirmed it and moved closer to him. She gave him her first order by ordering him to close his eyes, and when he did so, the girl gave him a sweet kiss. Yudo blushed and asked why she did that. The girl explained that kisses make your body secrete oxytocin, a happiness hormone that leads to a euphoric state. She asked what his wish was, and he answered that he wanted to get revenge on all who bullied him. The girl patted his head like a good dog and said she would grant his wish. At Yudo's house, dishes and cans of alcohol can be seen while he is about to sleep. He recalls the weird girl and realizes that nothing's going to change. Recalling his first day at school, he couldn't believe he would be bullied over something dumb. He felt tired of his life and wished that tomorrow never came. The next morning, when he went into the school and was about to sit, he saw his desk full of harsh words written on it. A guy named Ryoya called him trash and said he was stinking up the whole classroom. Upon seeing his broken arm, he picked some pen and planned to write some wishes on his cast. He grabbed Yudo's hand, but Yudo pushed his hand away, making Ryoya stunned and scratch his head. He told Yudo to go to his seat and call the attention of his classmates, saying he would show them something cool. He jumps and kicks Yudo in his back. He laughed and asked if someone recorded it. The guy who is capturing the scene tells Ryoya that he is crazy. When Ryoya sees Yudo walking away from them, he grabs him by the collar and is about to deliver another blow but stops when someone arrives, greeting them with a good morning. While Tamada Kubaru cheerfully asked them what they were doing, the teacher behind looked terrified. Yudo recognized her as the girl from yesterday, and Ryoya found her cute, so he asked which room she was from. The teacher shakingly told them that Tamada Kubaru was a transferred student and their new classmate. Ryoya asked why the teacher hadn't told them about it, and the teacher, who still looked terrified by her students, answered that she already told them about it yesterday. Ryoya apologized to their teacher, and when he asked the new student's name, Tamada Kubaru cheerfully introduced herself and wrote her name on the blackboard. Ryoya was mesmerized by her beauty, so he asked for her ID, which Kubaru gladly gave him. Ryoya told her to just call him Ryoya, but Kubaru didn't respond when she saw Yudo. She asked his name and moved closer, leaving the ugly bullet confused. She looked at Yudo's blushy face and said that she had forgotten to ask his name yesterday. Yudo was hesitant but still said his name. While the two were greeting each other, Ryoya observed them and asked if Kubaru was into Yudo. He wondered if she had a screw loose because Yudo stepped on a dog poop on his first day. However, he was taken aback when Kubaru told him she wasn't interested because his story seemed boring. She asked the teacher about her seat, and when the teacher told her that it was next to Yudo, she cheerfully stated that it must be fate, leaving the orangutan dumbfounded, wondering why a cute girl chose some loser who stepped on dog poop. He couldn't accept what happened, so he grabbed his phone, told the group chat he would invite Kyubaru, and ordered them to post the video. Meanwhile, the two looked bored while having lunch. Yuuto asks if she can't be with someone else, and Kyubaru responds no, adding that this is the best opportunity for a strategy meeting about his revenge on his bullies. She revealed she was invited to the class group earlier, and when she looked at the video, she muttered that Ryoya was really interested in her and got upset when he got nothing. Yuuto grabbed her hand and ordered her not to watch it, but Kyubaru had already watched it. He felt so embarrassed and angrily told her that it was something he didn't want anyone to see. Kyubaru asked if the video had been posted only in the group chat. When Yuuto confirmed it, she suggested posting it publicly. Yuuto wasn't crazy to do that and asked if she was even listening to him. Kyubaru inquired how he planned to enact revenge and said they didn't have much choice because there is no revenge without risk. She reminded him that he was about to die yesterday, and that if he really had the courage to die, posting his video wasn't a big deal. She wonders if he wasn't brave enough to kill himself yesterday, and Yuuto responds that he was really going to do it yesterday. Hearing the answer she wanted, Kyubaru created an account for him and even managed the post. All he needed to do was to click the upload button. He looked at the phone and was surprised after seeing the caption. They would pretend to be bullies rather than victims confessing their stories. She is certain that this video will catch everyone's attention, and even though it has no followers, adding a popular streamer and viral video using hashtags could make their video a trend on the internet. All they have to do is let society carry out its justice. Yuuto knew it could cause problems for their school, but Kyubaru reminded him that their school didn't care about him. He is the one who can save himself because if he worries for the adults who don't care about him and he doesn't do this, he will become miserable for the rest of his life. She moved closer and told him he would be happy if he did what she said. She promised that she would always be there to protect him. Yuuto thinks for a moment before uploading the video. After he does that, he mutters that no one will notice it because it has no followers. It didn't take long before his phone was bombarded with notifications because many people reacted to his video. His hand trembled after realizing that his embarrassing video could now be seen in public, causing him to unintentionally drop his phone. Kyubaru whispered in his ear, commending him for doing a great job. She picked up the phone and told him they must return to class. Meanwhile, one of the students worriedly told Ryoya to look at the group chat. After looking at the posted video, Ryoya calmly said it was just a tweet and people would forget about it. He doubted anyone would find their school, and even if they did, he was sure no one would have the guts to show up. Ryoya's friend said goodbye when a man from the Bakabaki Violence channel arrived for his service. Ryoya was confused, so the man asked if he didn't know Bakibo. Fun fact, Bakibo is a short term of Buryoku, which means violence. He was annoyed that Ryoya didn't know about it and revealed he has 5,000 subscribers. Ryoya will be his guest on one of his streams, so he tried to put the Bakibo band in Ryoya. Ryoya was surprised by his action, so he punched the ladder. The man touched his face and asked the viewers if they saw how Ryoya hit him. Ryoya tried to reason that it was an accident, but the guy didn't believe his excuse, wondering if this was his explanation to his victims, even if he was ganging up on someone defenseless. When Ryoya tried to clarify that they were just messing around, the man asked the viewers if they all heard that Ryoya thought this was all fun and games. Because the worst piece of sheep like Ryoya, who is ruining their society by bullying the weak, deserves to learn his lesson. The guy punches him in the face and nose, followed by a kick that makes his knee drop to the floor. While Ryoya couldn't help but just curse, the guy noticed that his streams became blurry, so he asked the viewers if they saw what happened. He tried to say that hitting Ryoya was going too far but mockingly clarified that he didn't hit him and told them that Ryoya was wearing the Bakibo band, which means that he agreed to be in his content. He told them that it was just an acting and no one actually got hurt. The viewers tried to ride his justification by agreeing with what he said, and after he ended the live stream, he asked Ryoya why he bullied the guy in the video. Before answering, Ryoya recalled the first time he saw Yuuto. Yuuto was walking with his back straight, so Ryoya thought he was cool. Therefore, he tried to approach him and make a conversation, saying that the girls were talking about Yuuto at the entrance ceremony. However, when he saw Yuuto's brand new sneakers accidentally step into a poop, he told it to the girls, but the girl told him to stop making fun of Yuuto. For him, it seemed like a funny joke, so he patted Yuuto's back, but Yuuto didn't like his joke and pushed his hand away. After seeing Yuuto's furious look, he froze and wanted to say that he just wanted to befriend him but didn't say it. Back to the present, Ryoya answered that he just wanted to be Yuuto's friend. The guy didn't buy his lame reason, so he kicked Ryoya in the face before leaving. Inside the classroom, the students had different reactions upon hearing that Ryoya was assaulted by a trespasser during lunchtime. But the culprit had already been arrested. To their shock, the teacher revealed that Ryoya had been hospitalized for many injuries, so the teacher told them to head home early. Kyubaru congratulated Yuuto on mission success, but Yuuto didn't seem happy, wondering if he had made the right choice. While Kyubaru looked at him and moved closer to invite him to skip class tomorrow and have a date, Yuuto thought that he was still terrified because his video was still spreading online and wondered how Kyubaru would lead his life. The other day, while Yuuto is walking, thinking he didn't get a good sleep and wonders if he fixed his hair, he questions himself why he was freaking out. After a while, he arrived at his destination and blushed after seeing Kyubaro wearing a revealing dress. When Kyubaru asks why he's in uniform, Yudo explains that his parents would find out he was skipping class if he wore regular clothes. He goes to the restroom and changes clothes there. Despite knowing Kyubaru was dangerous, he still felt happy right now and viewed Kyubaru as cute. When he returned, he saw two men trying to hit on Kyubaru, but she ignored them. She quickly went to Yudo when she saw him, making the two men realize she already had a boyfriend. They went to the aquarium, and as he looked at Kyubaru, he was mesmerized by her beauty. After some sightseeing, they stopped in a dolphin section, where Kyubaru pointed her finger at them and told Yudo it looked like him. Oh, this girl is really harsh. Anyway, after the aquarium, they went into a cafe. Kyubaru asked if he made fun, and he answered yes. Kyubaru explained that she invited him on a date because it was for his future. In the future, Yudo will fall in love and go on many dates, so this setup was an introductory class to mold him into the ideal Prince Charming. After all, he needs some experience under his belt to get there. Otherwise, he would mess up on his first date. Basically, today's date was just a practice run. Yudo asks if it means she wants to go out with her, but Kyubaru shatters his heart by saying no, clarifying that she doesn't even like him. They barely knew each other, and she was uninterested in romance. All she wanted was to play with her puppets. Yudo froze when she stated that he was just a mere puppet to her, nothing more, nothing less. They went into different stores and took some photos. Kyubaru thanked him for today and asked if he could make it on his curfew. Yudo answered that he would, so Kyubaru bid him goodbye and said she would make a photo album. After thanking her, his phone suddenly rang, and when he answered it, his dad scolded him for skipping class, saying that his teacher called. He asked how Yudo could humiliate him like this. He warned his son not to dare come back home and hoped he would die on the side of the road. Yudo couldn't believe his dad would tell him to die and tell himself that this was the reason why he hated talking to his dad because he had never watched his mouth. Kyubaru asks if he's alright and apologizes for asking him to cut class. Yudo answered that he was okay, and when Kyubaru asked if he did not get along with his family, he responded that they don't really see eye to eye. Seeing how hurt Yudo was, Kyubaru moved closer to him and said that if he don't like them, just run away and come with her. Yudo tried to push her away and said that if she didn't have feelings for him, she must stop acting like that because he couldn't rely on her. Kyubaru stated it was unconditional love. She had no feelings for him and did not expect a romantic or physical relationship. She had no ulterior motives and wanted to save him. She hugged him and asked if it wasn't enough. Yudo didn't respond but realized he had fallen in love with her. Kyubaru invited him to watch a movie at her house, but before they did that, they went into a convenience store to buy snacks. Yudo thanked her for everything, and Kyubaru told him not to call her by her family name. When they arrived at her apartment, Yudo was astonished at the huge building. He didn't expect that she lives in a high-rise apartment and was surprised to see her room spacious. Kyubaru lived in this apartment alone, and when they sat on a sofa, they started to browse some movies to watch. As they watched, Yudo felt so peaceful and hoped this moment would last forever. However, his phone suddenly rang, and he excused himself to answer his dad's call. Dad asks where the meow he is, and upon learning that he is in his friend's home, Dad asks if he is kidding him. He inquired if he was seduced by a girl and decided to come to pick him up. Yudo was so tired of his dad that he didn't want to go home anymore. As he wondered if Dad knew his location, Kyubaru opened the door and apologized for overhearing their conversation. Yudo apologized for his dad's rudeness and planned to go back home, but Kyubaru told him to wait and see if his dad would really pick him up. Before they could return to the room, his dad called him and said he was already there. He revealed that he had gotten his location through GPS. When Kyubaru asked if they should go down, he wondered what the envelope she was holding was. Kyubaru volunteered to convince his father so he could stay with her and ordered him to wait at the entrance. Upon seeing Kyubaru walk out of the entrance building, Dad shouted at her, asking if she was the meow who seduced his son. He spouted more nonsense and said she wore like a whore. Observing the situation wasn't looking good, Yudo decided to come out, and when Dad saw him, he told him they must go home. Kyubaru showed him the envelope with 1 million yen that she had withdrawn in case of an emergency like this. She tried to hand it to Dad and said that he must leave Yudo to her once he got the money. Dad inquired if she was making fun of him, but Kyubaru was serious, asking if 1 million yen wasn't enough. Dad made it clear that he was Yudo's father and wouldn't give his son away with some dirty money. He assumed she got the cash by selling her body and called him a filthy meow. Yudo tried to stop his dad, but Kyubaru halted him by moving her hand and asking Dad why he didn't consider the other way to earn money. She wondered if prostitution was the only way he thought women could make money. He is an unimaginative man, and with a father like him, she was certain Yudo would never have a happy life. His father told her that it was not for her to decide, but Kyubaru wondered why he told Yudo to die. Dad just said it for Yudo's sake because when he was Yudo's age, his bosses always told him that, too. He discovered weak people can't make it in this world and adds that he learned from a harsh word. Kyubaru laughs at his statement and apologizes for his ridiculous story. She realizes that he really doesn't care about his son and asks what he would do if Yudo really died. Dad knew people wouldn't die by just telling them to die, but Kyubaru clarified that they did more easily than he thought, especially when the one spouting cruelly was their father. She wondered if he didn't know how Yudo felt, but Dad answered that he knew. He explained that Yudo was a wimp despite being a man. which is why he was educating him. Kyubaru observed that he was using the wrong expression because words alone don't serve as education. She could now see the full picture of Yuyudo's situation and decided she would make him happy because Yuyudo wouldn't be happy with his father. Dad wondered what a brat like her knew about life and asked if she was planning on marrying his son. For Kyubaru, the first fundamental to a happy life is building a peaceful family where you can have a child. And in order to lead Yuyudo to such a future, she will improve his popularity, academics, achievements, and financial income. However, she wasn't the one who would have a family with him because she was just his controller. She declared that she would show Yuyudo's dad how she could make his son happy under her control. Her declaration left Dad speechless, and he inquired as to what kind of joke it was. If she can really do that, then she must go ahead and show it right now. Kyubaru didn't want to waste more time and called her dad, telling him to proceed with the thing she mentioned. Yuyudo's dad irritably looked at her, but his phone suddenly rang. As he looked at his phone, Kyubaru told him to answer it because she was sure it was urgent. Dad angrily looked at him before answering the call from his president. The president apologized for the sudden call and said he was thankful for his work. However, he had to fire him. Dad asked for the reason, but the president only said that he had a family to take care of, too. Dad's world shattered after hearing that, and when the call ended, he angrily asked the girl if it was all her doings. Kyubaru confirmed it and revealed that she had told her dad to pull some strings. She asked if he knew the Tamada Real Estate, and he answered that it was the company that acquired them. Kyubaru explained that Tamada Real Estate was the parent company of his workplace, and her dad was its CEO. She simply asked her dad to fire him, and if he accepted the 1 million yen, she wouldn't mind asking her dad to take him back. But if he doesn't accept the money, she will make sure he can't be hired anywhere. Father shouted at her, telling her to stop messing around. Still, Kyubaru wasn't bluffing and reminded him that the fact he was fired wouldn't change either way. Since he was now a grown adult, she was sure he knew the right choice. Dad dropped his knee to the floor and cursed. He clenched his teeth and reluctantly snatched the envelope. Kyubaru lowered her body and commended him for making the right decision. She faced Yudo and told him they must continue watching the movie. She grabbed him and went inside the building, leaving the orangutan behind. Meanwhile, in some building, inside the office, a man mutters that he did this because Kyubaru insisted on it. He wonders if Kiba Yudo is her boyfriend, and to answer all his questions, he decides to ask Yudo directly. Now that he was free from his horrible father, he felt like a weight was lifted off his shoulders. Still, he was wondering if this was really a correct decision. He is a miner, and running away from home alone is risky. Although he is thankful he has a place to stay, he ponders if he will be okay. He cut everyone out of his life as if it was not a big deal and wondered what his mom would say. He concluded that his mother would say nothing because she's always been at his dad's side. Observing his silence, Kyubaru asked if something was wrong and if he was worried. She knew he was now separated from his family but assured him he would be okay because she would make him happy. Yudo stared at her and asked himself why she always liked this. They went inside, and after finishing the movie, Kyubaru felt fun but noticed Yudo's face crying like a monkey. Yudo was touched at the last line and mumbled how cool it was. Kyubaru told him they should watch another movie. When he asked about the genre, Kyubaru casually said that it was a romance movie, a classic for any date at home. They are practicing for the future, and upon seeing him tense, she tells him to relax and enjoy the movie. Yudo was not accustomed to watching romance movies, and he found himself in a state of panic and embarrassment when the kissing scenes seemed to drag on. Kyubaru, noticing his discomfort, reached out and touched his hand, inadvertently awakening his baby dragon. She suggested that in such moments, they should hold hands, and even proposed they try a kiss. She moved to his front and was about to perform the forbidden technique, but Yudo pushed her. She wondered if he didn't want to kiss her, but Yudo said that he did, but it wasn't right to do it. Because she had no interest in him, they must not kiss, and he told her to be respectful of herself. Kyubaru ponders momentarily before stating that she will never mind kissing him. Yudo tells her not to say that to the person she rejected because it would raise his hopes. Hearing the word rejected confuses Kyubaru, and she tells him he hasn't even confessed to her. He reminds her of the day when she told him she didn't like him, but Kyubaru emphasizes that she was just ascertaining their position back then. She asks if he actually likes her and teases him by saying that it is the reason why he feels rejected. Yudo informed her that if two people aren't in a relationship, they shouldn't be so casually kissing each other. It doesn't matter whether he likes it or not. If she wants him to be happy, she must have some morals. Kyubaru agreed that she wouldn't kiss him anymore, but for the sake of his future, she still wanted him to amass some romantic experience. So she decided to find him a girlfriend candidate tomorrow at school. The other day, in school, Kyubaru wanted him to write his own romantic comedy for that day and ask if there were any girls he was interested in. Yudo wanted to say that it was her but just answered that there was no one. He has no friends and was bullied for the whole time, so he didn't think of dating someone. Kyubaru decides they must start finding him a girlfriend and adds that with his not too shabby face, he will get acquainted with a girl in no time. She told him to look at the girl who seemed in trouble clearing the blackboard and ordered him to help her. Yudo reluctantly follows her order and approaches the girl, asking if she is okay and offering a hand. He grabbed the chalk eraser and cleaned the blackboard. The girl thanked him for the help, and he happily told her that it was nothing and let her know that she could ask him if she needed anything. The girl blushed after hearing that, and when he got back to his seat, Kyubaru told him that he was now on track to being popular. Yudo told her it wasn't that easy, but Kyubaru clarified that being kind is important because many people give it credit. As he swept the floor, Ehara approached and thanked him for the earlier help. Yuyudo said it was nothing worth thanking, but Ehara insisted it was and wanted to ask something. She tried to speak about her request, but because she was shy and couldn't utter a word, she unintentionally bit her tongue. When she finally said she wanted to walk home with him, Yuyudo was shocked and asked if it was just the two of them. Ehara didn't mean it in a weird way and said that new donuts were being sold in front of the station, and she had no friends to try them. Grabbing her skirt, she reminded him of what he said earlier, and asked if he didn't want to accompany her. Yuyudo gladly wanted to join her, and she became happy after hearing that. She thanked him and told him to meet her after class. As he looked at Ehara, Kubaru approached him and warned him not to tell her he was living with her. Yuyudo knew about it and wondered if this was a half-baked love triangle. Ehara likes him, but he likes Kubaru. He felt guilty about it, but knowing Kubaru didn't have any feelings for him, he decided to give up on her as soon as possible and planned to make friends to broaden his horizons. He couldn't do it before because of the bullying, and now that he is free from it, he wants to enjoy life. Kubaru disturbs his deep thoughts by saying she wants to listen on his date. She gave him the pen mic and handed him the earbuds. He will use this to follow her instructions and warn him not to pull any funny business. Kubaru waved him goodbye, and as he thought that it was a huge weight on his shoulders, Ehara asked if he waited long. They then leave the school and walk home together. As they walked, Kubaru asked if he could hear her and ordered him to tap the earbud twice if he could hear her. He did what she said, and after confirming that he could hear her, she told him to pay attention to her words and that he must repeat them. He wondered if this was a joke but still followed her order. He repeats Kubaru's words by asking Ehara if she likes donuts. Ehara loves them, and Yuyudo responds with Kubaru's words, saying he likes them too. He is dying of shame about what he is doing. And when they arrive at the place, he continues conversing with Ehara using Kubaru's sweet words. Seeing there were a lot of delicious flavors, Ehara wanted to try them all because it was a limited edition, but ordering 2 for herself was a bit much. With Kubaru's command, Yuyudo asks if she wants to split donuts with him, and upon seeing her frozen, he asks if she doesn't want to. Ehara quickly responds that it didn't matter since it was him. They placed their order and had a little conversation. Seeing how kind Yuyudo was, Ehara smiled with a blushed face. After he placed their food on the table, Ehara thanked him and wanted to give her shares, but Yuyudo refused the money at Kubaru's command. He told her not to worry about the bill because it was his treat. Ehara didn't want to accept it, but Yuyudo suddenly grabbed her hand with Kubaru's command and muttered that he was trying to be the gentleman today. Ehara almost burst into blushfulness and asked if he had any girls he liked. When he answered that he didn't have, Ehara's reaction became creepy. She said that she was glad because if he had, she might have killed him. Oh, another psychopath detected. After saying she was just kidding, Yuyudo felt relieved and mutters that she almost gave him a heart attack. Well, the words were still coming from Kubaru. Ehara's face becomes creepy, and she asks if the words he is saying aren't from him. Yuyudo is shocked and cannot answer, and when Ehara notices the earbuds, he pulls them out, losing the connection. He tried to make an alibi by saying he was just listening to music, but Ehara didn't believe him, asking if he didn't want to tell the truth. She cried and stated that he didn't care about her, but Yuyudo tried to say it wasn't true. She told him it was fine because she believed a wonderful guy like him would never pay attention to someone like her. She wanted to go home, but Yuyudo tried to stop her and told her he enjoyed talking to her. Ehara wonders if he will keep dating her because she wants their conversation to continue. She asked if he could stop by her house once they were done there. Now that he has cut the connection with Kubaru, he ponders on what to do, but because he doesn't want to leave Ehara in this state and feels guilty, he agrees with her offer. They went to Ehara's house, and he learned she lived alone because her parents were busy. They just sent her money for her tuition, and she was grateful for them. She told him to feel at home and excused herself, saying she would get him some tea. However, when she was at Yuyudo's back, she grabbed a flower vase and hit the moron with all her might. She flipped Yuyudo's body and tried to find the phone. She opened it and discovered he was really talking to another girl. Holding a rope, she declared she would teach him a lesson and clarified that she was doing it for the other girl's sake. On the other hand, Kubaru stood up from her bed and muttered that Ehara Riho was more interesting than she had anticipated. Yuyudo felt dizzy and eventually fainted. When he woke up, he found himself lying on a bed tied in rope. He blushed upon seeing the wonderful sight and asked why she only wore underwear. Ehara didn't want to stain her clothes with blood. That's why she removed them. She will punish him for pretending he cared for that girl and toyed with her heart. Yuyudo clarifies that it wasn't his intention and asks who the girl she was talking about was. This girl with lollipop eyes is Rina, Ehara's older sister. Yuyudo was confused because they looked identical but was shocked when Rina revealed she and Ehara shared the same body. She rode Yuyudo like a cowgirl and revealed it was a split personality. Ehara's parents were now hands-off, but in the past, they were the complete opposite. They always hit Ehara whenever they were upset and locked her up in the garden storage house. Ehara apologizes to her dad and asks him to open the door, but there's no response. She felt terrified because of the darkness and couldn't breathe, so she asked someone to help her. That is the time when Rina shows up and comforts her. She offers to be at her place whenever she's in pain and promises to protect her. From now on, we will call this lollipop Irina and the shy girl Ehara. Anyway, she played with the knife and told him she couldn't withstand guys like him who toyed with Ehara's emotions. She will make him repent for what he did to Ehara by slicing his pretty face. She stopped when Yuuto suggested talking about it over, but when he said that someone was at the door, she tried to ignore it but couldn't because the person was forcefully trying to open the door. The door opens, revealing the queen of psychopaths, cheerfully saying that she had a lot of tricks to open the door. Seeing their delicious position, Kubaru called Yuuto a nasty guy. Yuuto tried to explain, but Kubaru reminded him that it had all happened because he hadn't listened to her. Rina wanted to kill her when she learned that she was the girl on the phone. Kubaru apologized and explained it wasn't her intention to upset her. All she wanted was for Yuuto to experience love, nothing else. Rina called her a liar because she wouldn't be chatting behind Ehara's back if it was really her concern. Kubaru clarified that she was giving Yuuto instructions, and to confirm it, she mimicked some of their conversations earlier. Every move Yuuto made was her decision because she wanted him to be happy. Rina thinks she is crazy because her mumbling is nonsense, but Kubaru makes it clear that she is dead serious. Rina tried to stab him, but Kubaru managed to stop her by grabbing her arm. She told Rina to calm down, but the latter was perfectly calm and told her to shut up. Kubaru asks if she has a split personality, and informs her that if she kills Yuuto, Ehara will become a murderer without her knowing. Rina paused momentarily, and Kubaru used this chance to push her arm away and grabbed her cheek to kiss her. After that kiss, Kubaru told her they should be happy together. She offered to guide Ehara, Rina, and Yuuto to happiness, but Rina thought it was impossible. Kubaru states she could make it possible and promised to make her life happy. Rina asked how she could be happy, and Kubaru responded she didn't know either but explained that happiness has many shapes because every person has their own happiness. She will guide Rina into happiness and ask her to become her puppet. Rina couldn't comprehend what she was saying and thought Kubaru was really crazy. However, her brain instinctively told her not to refuse Kubaru's offer. She wants to obey her and leave every decision to her. She looked at Yuuto and realized this also happened to him. She looked at Kubaru and decided to become her puppet. Kubaru hugs her from behind and states her first order. She wants Rina to kiss Yuuto because in the fairy tale, the princess kisses the prince and they live happily ever after. If Rina does as she said, she will experience all the intensity romance offers. Rina followed her order and received a compliment from Kubaru. Kubaru will now punish Yuuto for disobeying her and ask Rina to give her a hand. Terrified, Yuuto asked why he would be punished, and Kubaru creepily responded that he had hung up the call without her permission. She told him it would be okay because she would make it look cute. She opened his mouth and told him she would pierce his tongue. She pulls out his tongue and warns him not to pull it back. She asked Rina to open the thing for her. Kubaru needs to sterilize it first, and while Yuuto looks at the huge needle, he asks himself if she will really use it on him. Now that the needle was clean, she touched his tongue and ordered him to stay still. She reminded him he was her puppet and stated that he would be punished if he disobeyed her. She told him not to be afraid and act like a baby. He can drink her milk if he wants. She told him to let the others take care of him. She tried to pierce his tongue, but the needle wouldn't go in. She tried even harder until she succeeded. Still holding the tongue, she commanded Rina to bring the towel. Rina felt disgusted by the sight but still followed the order. She asked if Yuuto would be okay, and Kubaru confirmed it by saying it wouldn't kill him. Before piercing the nipple ring to his tongue, she reminds him that this is what will happen if he disobeys her and calls him a bad puppet. She wrote at him and put the banana in the right place. She hugged him and patted his head, commending him like a good dog for staying still. After petting him like a dog, she told the two that she adored them because they were both cute. She doesn't want any walls between the three of them and asks if they know the thing people most obsess over. She believes it's love and elaborates that love drives people mad and makes them obsessive. For them to become irreplaceable to each other, the three of them must do some naughty stuff. Yuuto was surprised and confused, so he asked what she meant. Kubaru gladly told him that it was the thing he liked the most. She put her hand before the two-mountain Fuji and was about to remove the sky covering it. But Yuuto felt embarrassed and didn't want it, so she explained that by sharing an immortal secret between them, they could build a special connection. Like how special the two of them are for her, she also wants to be special to them. She wants the three of them to have an honest love triangle, so she pulls Yuuto closer and makes an example, saying that when she embraces him like this, he feels warm and fuzzy inside. A hug can help reduce someone's stress and anxiety. She told Rina to join them, and she complied, sandwiching the lucky guy and causing his baby dragon to awaken. While Kubaru observed that his heart was racing, Rina felt warm. Kubaru wondered how warm it could be when there were no clothes and asked if he had ever seen people pluck. What she meant was if he had ever seen people pluck in real life, not in videos. Yuuto never did, and he never thought about it. However, Kubaru was different. She wanted to see it and suggested they try it right here, right now. She added that it was a perfect shared secret for them. Yuuto didn't want to do it, but Kubaru reminded him that he wasn't allowed to disobey her and said that if he really liked her, he must do what she wanted. She warns him not to disappoint her. Rina was fine to do it, so she removed her jacket and started to climb at him. Yuuto froze and wondered if this was really okay. When he finally got the answer that this was wrong, the door opened, revealing an ugly monkey. Well, the person behind the door was Kubaru's dad, who was shocked upon seeing their weird positions. On the other hand, Kubaru just casually greeted her dad. Mr. Tamada wanted her to explain, but Kubaru asked how he found the place. Mr. Tamada stutteringly said he used GPS and was struck by lightning when Kubaru responded that it was gross. Still, Mr. Tamada wanted her to explain, but Kubaru casually replied, asking what he thought happened when a boy and a girl lay in bed together. She moved closer to Yudo's face and asked if he couldn't tell by just looking. Mr. Tamada was shocked at her action and quickly moved to grab her, telling her to stop it. She was still unmarried, and it wasn't right to go further. He comes closer to Yudo, asking if he is the one she mentioned and wondering if Yudo is her boyfriend. Kubaru cheerfully told her father to calm down because everything was fine. She just wants Yudo to be happy. Mr. Tamada asks Yudo if Kubaru forced him into this, but Yudo denies it. Mr. Tamada wanted him to explain, but Yudo couldn't answer properly because Mr. Tamada would ask another question before he could utter a word. When Mr. Tamada calmed down, Yudo observed that Kubaru's father looked young and had pink hair. Mr. Tamada approached Yudo and politely offered to give him a ride home but was shocked when Kubaru mentioned that Yudo lived with her. Mr. Tamada tapped Yudo's shoulder and asked Kubaru to give them a moment alone. Kubaru happily agreed with him, and the two left the room. When they entered the car, Yudo couldn't help but feel nervous. He was startled when Mr. Tamada called his name and said he would ask a few questions. He warned the kids to think carefully before answering because their lives depended on his answer. He pushes the gas deeper to make the car faster and states that he is prepared to die with him. He begs the kid to answer him honestly and asks about his relationship with Kubaru. He warns the kid that a sharp curve will come up after 1 kilometer, right next to a steep cliff. If Yudo didn't want to die there, he must answer Mr. Tamada's question honestly. Mr. Tamada asks if he and Kubaru are dating, and Yudo denies it. Mr. Tamada asked if it was just a physical relationship, and Yudo said it was not. Mr. Tamada notices his pause and asks if he plock with Kubaru, and Yudo denies it but reveals they kissed. Mr. Tamada was shocked and didn't look at the road, so Yudo became terrified, reminding the old man to look at the front. Mr. Tamada ignored his word and wanted to murder him, but Yudo clarified that he wasn't the one who initiated it. Mr. Tamada asks if he is making excuses, but Yudo is honest and reveals that Kubaru is the person who saved him. Mr. Tamada just listened to him when he mentioned that if it weren't for Kubaru, he would be dead now. It is the reason why he wants to treat Kubaru with respect, and he adds that he wants Kubaru to respect herself. Kubaru may be crazy, but she is someone who can save someone from any situation. After shouting that he wanted to make her happy, the car crashed into the road fence, and we could see that the idiot Mr. Tamada wasn't looking at the road but at my beautiful face. With that, the car flew to the other universe. Mr. Tamada felt his body floating in the air, and everything around him started playing in slow motion as if he were a spectator watching a movie play in front of him. Thinking that he had always done everything he could for Kubaru's sake, he remembered when he was the president's secretary in a company. Employees murmured about him always babysitting the president's daughter on his day off, and they wondered how he had become the president's secretary despite his age. Seeing an endearing smile at Kubaru, he thinks she is just a normal child. But when Kubaru apologized on behalf of his dad for requesting Mr. Tamada to take care of her during his off and said to feel free at home before going back to her room, Mr. Tamada was surprised because she acted like an adult. Mr. Tamada coughed out phlegm before lowering his body to tell Kubaru he wanted to play with her. Kubaru said he was a liar and frankly told him there was no need to be polite. Mr. Tamada lowered his body to remind her that she was still a child and that being selfish was normal for them. Kubaru smiled at him and agreed to play catch. She quickly ran to start the game, but Mr. Tamada wanted her to stop because they were inside the house. Kubaru reminds him of what he said, saying kids should be selfish, and adds that she will stop when he catches her. Mr. Tamada manages to catch her and lift her, but when she asks if she acts like a child now, he realizes that Kubaru is different from other girls. At the company, in a room, a woman named Suzuki apologized for calling him so suddenly and revealed she liked him and wanted to go out with him. Mr. Tamada is surprised and appreciates how she feels, but he reminds her that she is married. She told him her marriage was in shambles and didn't expect him to reject her because he always acted nice towards her. Mr. Tamada explained that cheating was wrong and advised her to settle things with her husband. Suzuki apologized for her action, so Mr. Tamada said it was okay, thinking that she finally understood. However, after some time, Suzuki confronted him again, asking why going out with her was still not okay because she already filed for divorce. Mr. Tamada told her to calm down, but Suzuki reminded him of what he said, that he would date her when she divorced her husband. Mr. Tamada was shocked because he never said those words, but the woman insisted he did. While other employees mumble that Suzuki has screwed loose and tried to advise Mr. Tamada to reject her, Mr. Tamada thinks that Suzuki might end up single for the rest of her life if he leaves her alone. The moment he thinks of that, he can no longer detach himself, and that was his biggest mistake. Before he could comfort the woman, a four-eyed man suddenly grabbed him, ordering him to come with him. After the Four Eyes learned what had happened, he reminded Mr. Tamada that someone must report the issue to their boss, so Tamada went to the president's room to report the matter. The boss didn't care about the actual truth because all he cared about was the work Mr. Tamada did for him, and he asked the woman's name. After that, Suzuki's being fired from the company spreads to the employees, and Mr. Tamada thinks that the president's decision is correct because Suzuki was the one who falsely accused him. He didn't know if firing her was the appropriate action, but still, the president chose his side because of his work. At the president's house, Kubaru noticed his gloomy face, so she asked if he was okay. She patted his head like a dog, and with that, Mr. Tomato realized that the only one who had genuinely cared for him was this little girl. He hoped to also give her support, and after thinking about that, he noticed Kubaru had a bruise on her arm. He asked about the bruise, but Kubaru tried to hide it and told him it was nothing, she was a bad girl, and it was her fault. Hearing her answer made Mr. Tomato worried, so he asked what happened. Kubaru got it when her dad got mad, hitting her with a shoehorn. As you can see, despite being hit, Kubaru had a smile on her face. Mr. Tomato wondered why the president would do that to her. Kubaru revealed she always got full marks, but to get her dad's attention, she handed an empty sheet on purpose, resulting in a 0 score. With that, he cheerfully told Mr. Tomato that she got beaten as she expected. After that day, Kubaru's injuries kept steadily increasing because she intentionally handed a blank sheet at school and accidentally hit her plate with a fork while having a meal with her dad. She assumed her dad hated her, and she hated him too. Mr. Tomato is speechless when Kubaru mutters that she wishes Mr. Tomato were her dad instead. Mr. Tomato tried to persuade the president to stop hurting his child, but the president said that it was just a minor scratch because Kubaru acts like a tomboy sometimes. Mr. Tomato didn't believe that those were just a minor scratch and begged the president. But the president warned him not to get his personal feelings mixed into his job. They were business partner, not friends. Mr. Tomato realized that even talking to the president face to face didn't work and concluded that Kubaru might get hurt more. While he was slowly planning what to do, the president was hospitalized because of cancer. Kubaru always looked for her dad, and after that, no one visited the president except him and Kubaru. After several years of hospitalization, the president's condition worsens and leave the world without warning. During the funeral, he and Kubaru were the only present, and on that day, while they were alone, Kubaru asked him to be her dad. With that single question, he was saved from the bottom of his heart because the little girl he couldn't protect was telling him she needed him. That was the time he decided to do everything to protect her, so he agreed to be her dad. Now that Mr. Tomato was her new dad, Kubaru was so happy and thanked him. Back to the present, while Mr. Tomato was still daydreaming about the past, Yuyudo opened his eyes and was shocked to see that the car was about to fall from the tree. He tried to wake up the old man, and when it did, Yuyudo felt relief. He asked if he could move and remove the seatbelt. Mr. Tomato asks why he is helping him, and Yuyudo responds that he is Kubaru's dad. She would be furious at him if he abandoned her dad. While Yuyudo is helping him get out of the car, he realizes that this kid isn't like him because Yuyudo can actually take a step to save someone else. He was sure Kubaru would be fine with Yuyudo on her side. He told the kid to take care of Kubaru, and when Yuyudo answered to leave it to him, Mr. Tomato menacingly told him that he didn't like the idea of a boy and a girl sleeping under the same roof when they were not in a relationship. After the kid answered that he understood, Mr. Tomato told him they should head back after they took care of the mess. At Kubaru's apartment, the two bruised morons were scolded by Kubaru when they went back late. Mr. Tomato wanted to talk about her leaving with Yuyudo in the same house, but was shut up when Kubaru said in a questioning tone that it was fine and asked what he would tell her again. He froze like a monkey when she stated that she didn't want her dad to go against her. He reluctantly said that it was totally fine, making Yuyudo wonder if it was really fine. Mr. Tomato gritted his teeth, clarifying that it wasn't, and revealed that Kubaru was his everything. He begs Yuyudo not to make any mistakes he can't take back. Meanwhile, a woman was having a cigarette while irritably saying she did it again. She faces the unconscious man behind her and asks why it always ends up like this. She can only feel relief when killing someone. She put the body inside a luggage bag, and as she pulled it out to throw it somewhere, she realized no one loved her. She mentioned that this man was the same as all the others and remembered the day when he was in a corner, muttering how she wanted to die. A man suddenly approaches her, inviting her for a drink. They went to a bar and introduced herself as Sachigawa Hiro when the man asked for her name. She asked why she called out to her, and he answered that she seemed to be lost in thought. He mentioned that he was filled with anxiety before but was saved from it when he came upon something. Hiro asked about it, and he cheerfully responded that it was about believing in God. Because God doesn't exist, Hiro doesn't believe in it, but the guy tells her that she must believe in God to be saved like him. She pointed her finger at him and decided that he would be her God because, in that way, he could make her believe in him. She doesn't care whether God is real or not. She just wants someone to save her and ask him to be that person. The guy just chuckled at her craziness and excused himself, saying he would use the restroom real quick. However, time flies, and the bar is about to close, so the waitress asks for her last order. Hiro just asks for the bill, and after paying it, she angrily states in her mind that the guy was the one who first approached her, yet leaves her. She threw the luggage bag into the ocean and realized that people become honest the moment before they die. When she was killing them, she felt that they belonged solely to her for that brief moment, making her become the strongest image etched into their memory. She didn't know the right way to love, but she hoped there was still salvation for her. After getting out of the first bus of the day, she realized it was already morning and wanted to go home to nap. She bumped into Yuyudo, and Yuyudo apologized because he didn't look ahead. Hiro stared at him before grabbing his face and moving it closer to her. She analyzed the kid's face side to side and asked if he was alright. She noticed the bandage on his head and wondered if his wound opened up. Yuyudo told her he was fine, and she told him to be careful next time. She then walks away, leaving Yuyudo stunned at her height. Hiro stops in an alley, mumbling how the kid freaks out when she grabs its face. She asked herself what she was doing and wondered if the kid looked disgusted. As she ponders if the kid thinks of her as a pervert, she tries to calm herself down but can't, so she decides to clear things up. When school is over, Kyubaru asks Yuyudo if he can buy her eggs because she and Ehara will stop by elsewhere. Yuyudo couldn't disobey her, so he agreed. While Hiro was walking, she remembered the kid's uniform was from this high school. On the other hand, Kyubaru gave Yuyudo a kiss and thanked him. Yuyudo was flustered at her action and realized he couldn't give up on her if she always acted like this. Because it was already 5 p.m. and the sales only lasted until 6 p.m. Yuyudo quickly ran to make it on time but was stopped when Hiro grabbed him and pulled him into a corner. She asks what he thinks of her, but Yuyudo doesn't answer her question and recognizes her as the woman he bumped into earlier. Suddenly, Ehara and Kyubaru arrived, asking the shady person to step away from Yuyudo. Hiro was confused and asked if she was talking to her. Kyubaru confirmed it, making Hiro clarify that it wasn't her intention to scare anyone because she just wanted to chat with Yuyudo. Kyubaru looked at her face with a creepy smile before grabbing Yuyudo's arm and informing the lady that he belonged to her. As they leave, Hiro freezes and is hurt because Kyubaru talks as if she is nothing to her. She weirdly smiled and wondered what face would someone like her make if she were on the brink of death. Meanwhile, Yuyudo informs them that he didn't manage to buy the eggs, but Kyubaru tells him it was okay. At least they made it in time for the ice cream. She cheerfully told him it looked great and tasted mint. She asked Yuyudo if he liked some, but Yuyudo didn't like mint. She licked my ice cream but didn't expect my milk to drop on her chest, so she decided to finish me quickly to clean her clothes. After finishing my delicious ice cream, she told them to wait for her. She went inside the comfort room and cleaned her uniform. As she felt relief it didn't stain her clothes, Hiro suddenly grabbed her mouth to stop her from calling for help. She put some string on Kyubaru's neck and warned her to be quiet because if she made a scene, she would kill her on the spot. Ehara noticed Kyubaru hadn't returned yet, so Yuyudo assumed something might have happened and asked if Ehara could check on her. Ehara went into the comfort room but found no one. She told Yuyudo about it and showed the handkerchief she found. She revealed it was from Kyubaru and wondered if she had been kidnapped. She loses consciousness and falls to the ground. Yuyudo tried to wake her up but was headbutted when Rina became conscious. She shouted at Yuyudo and said they were going to look for Kyubaru. She asked if he had a GPS tracker or something, but he wouldn't have such a thing. He suddenly recalled the earbuds Kyubaru lent him and remembered that he registered it on his phone. He told Rina it could transmit Kyubaru's location by using the app. At Hiro's apartment, Kyubaru can be seen kneeling on the ground while her eyes are blindfolded and her hand is tied up. She inquired why the lady was doing it to her and asked to be released. Hiro was surprised because she acted normally. Still, she only felt relieved when she knew people's true selves because she was scared of the unknown. If she understands them, she won't be afraid anymore. She decided to remove Kyubaru's blindfold but was surprised when Kyubaru teasingly showed her tongue, asking the lady to let her go. When Hiro blindfolded her, she thought Hiro didn't want to kill her. But since Hiro took the blindfold off, she is certain Hiro will kill her. Hiro wondered what was wrong with this girl because she couldn't see what lay beneath her. She asks Kyubaru if she isn't afraid, and Kyubaru responds that she isn't afraid of dying because she is super curious about it. She wondered if there was an empty void after dying or maybe an afterlife. She wouldn't know it until she's not dead and believes that death is part of life. She wasn't afraid of death but liked to save the best for last. She was certain she wouldn't die yet and made a proposal, asking the lady to let her control her life. Hiro was shocked and speechless after hearing that. Meanwhile, the two arrived near the location, and when they stopped at Hiro's apartment, Yudo learned from the app that Kyubaru was inside the apartment. He wonders which floor she's on and decides to go. He tells Ehara to find a hiding place and informs her that he will yell out if anything happens. If she hears him, she must call the police. Ehara looked at his back, wondering if he would be okay. On the other hand, Yudo thought that if the kidnapper was a large man and had a weapon, he was sure he would be dead in an instant. However, he realized that it wasn't the time to think about it because Kyubaru was the one who saved him, and it was his turn to save her now. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy this manga. Have a good day.